Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Quick one back to Kabila and recollection. I think we agreed in general, except that there were a few but that may illustrate with something. That page now assume Kabila reference.
But before that, Kwamna Dankamo Sebi or Tabu. And you mean that? Me beside her. I was on your job na mama.
That's a typical Fantima for you.
It's playing back.
Kabila, we hear column 146. Anyway, just the last paragraph of what Fiti was saying when he was winding up. Also, I will therefore say, that's Fiti, that the amendment should be rejected.
Yes.
It is wholly unsatisfactory that the movers of the amendment should urge the rejection of the budget on the pretext that they could have prepared a better budget. It is this thing that elicited Jones's response.
As in Jones Oforiatta?
Yes. Also, Mr. Speaker, our amendment is not seeking the rejection of the financial policy. Our amendment is asking the House to take note of the financial policy and to regret the fact that the policy is not adequate in specific areas. We are not asking the House to reject the financial policy, and therefore we are not pulling anybody down. That's Kabila quoted this.
Yeah.
What was the response of Fiti immediately after that? Fiti says, all of us have read the amendment. If that amendment is carried, the effect will be that the financial policy will be thrown out. And that's exactly what happened subsequently when the Speaker put the amendment first. And the budget was indeed rejected. And that's why they brought a revised budget.
Okay.
But it's good recollection that you did, because that's why I also brought my copy. Yeah. There's a relationship between what happened then and what happened now. But it's happening now. The only point you see, Fiti moved the motion for the approval of the budget. It wasn't the minister. I think the minister was not unavailable.
He was not around, yeah.
But as majority leader, he had the locus to do that, and he did.
Fiti was majority leader.
Yes, please.
Okay.
But recently, Honorable Chimin Sabunsu read
exactly those things happened. Oh yeah, history, good recollection. I have no difficulty with the recollection, and I knew where you were coming from in terms of seeking some relevance and relationship. And the point Debimu say is the first time or second time. You were concerned about that, but it's not a big deal. And dealing with today's.
So you mean that the rejection was through the carrying of the amendment?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Which remains debatable. You see, Professor Adam Mensah, who was also present, deals with that.
He talks about PNP youth. But we're all involved. PNP youth said there wasn't a rejection.
Yes.
Look, they were talking technicalities.
Absolutely.
In substance, you brought a revised budget.
And Liman cured it by inviting the people.
Yes, Liman, Pawili, they exchanged letters. There's a letter from Liman to the Speaker, letter from Pawili, the Council of State Chairman, to the Speaker. The Speaker responding to all those things. They met them at Parliament House.
Anyway, for those of you who may not know, maybe younger listeners, Pawili is the Venerable William Oforiatta.
Yes, he was the chairman.
A member of the Big Six and the Council of State Chairman at the time in Dr. Liman's regime.
Yes.
He ran for president on the UNC ticket, and even though he lost, he goes down in our history as one of our greatest statesmen ever.
I think grand uncle of the president.
And
yes, there's a relationship.
Yes, grand uncle of the president.
Kwame.
Yes, quickly.
Inima.
Catch him.
There's some constitutional tug of war you go through in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It started from November 17th, Yadama. That's the day of the presentation of the budget. And I think 22nd or so, Kweku Kwatin seconded it. And then, of course, 26th, the most significant day, quite a significant day, the budget so-called rejection occurred. And then the 30th was restored, quote unquote. Look, Kwame, how did we get to this point?
How did we get here?
Yes. Inima, I'm being very frank with you. And I've told some of the leaders what I'm going to say. The beginning of all this mess, I blame the majority leadership.
The beginning of all this mess?
I blame the majority leadership in parliament.
Thank you.
Really?
And at least even to some extent the executive. Kwame, timelines, timetable for presentation of the budget was known to all of them. Nyadama.
No.
They also knew how long the debate would take and when the vote would take place. Where was the full complement of their numbers?
Bisebium.
Where was it? Okay. There were 3 or so of them outside the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Some had been there months before. Church mercy. Such an important document, I would need there to be subject to vote, especially the signals began at one stage there. Minority from they would decide to play hardball.
Of course.
It wasn't going to look like the normal one, 2017 budget, 2018 budget, 2019 budget. Church mercy. Certain things had been hyped, giving signals. There, you don't continue thinking that, some goodwill will be generated and that voice vote will just carry everything along. No, the eyes have it.
Here.
You prepare, you anticipate, especially when the signals came up. Get all your members back to their jurisdictions. And you see how they quickly organize them back in an like quote unquote emergency form.
So they should have done
down.
it earlier.
As I was saying, I just have Oba Saturday, dawn area there, morning.
Yes,
call
dawn
it.
area there.
I am trying Saturday, right from 12 midnight, Ibano, and yes, Saturday. And when did the so-called rejection take place? It was in the Friday afternoon or so. The others came. I'm told Kennedy and the Rose Minister. Yes.
Amakwata.
So look, fundamentally, that was my concern. I've told some of them.
Intelligence gap.
That
Where
they did a
did
poor
this
job.
I mean, see, if your numbers were there, with the speaker sitting presiding, this controversy vote would not have happened. I'm talking of the Friday.
Yeah.
Peace
So
FM.
it's clear in my mind that there was a certain element of leadership failure on the part of the majority in terms of their strategy, their tactics, and their awareness. And it must be said, I'm not saying that they are totally useless or
but on this particular case,
yes,
on this particular case,
Usaid James and look, is one of the best. I'm telling you.
But on this, he failed.
Yeah, so we are dealing with a specific issue.
Context.
Afenyo mark na nyama potential. I'm telling you, if you watch that young man carefully, going into the future, it's going to be a huge material in our legislative politics, perhaps even beyond that. So I am not doing a general judgment or verdict on their performance and profile, but this specificity, this particular specific case, I think, 1 year sharp, 1 year smart,
Intelligence gap.
and no creative all this mess. Otherwise, look, they would have had the budget passed
On Friday.
after all. Beyond the passage, we all know, and Kojo Ponkroma elaborated on it. So many things change. Estimates time, the bill, ye levy, for instance, or that the bill, by in the form of a bill.
Yeah.
And things change there.
There at the committee level before it even comes.
Kwame.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.